Well, it's good catching up with you. I haven't gotten to talk with you too much this week. I texted you yesterday morning while Brother Dan was preaching, and you said, "Well, I'm listening along, but I'm fearfully clutching my dissertation."
Yeah, yeah. I sat there and listened to it with my dissertation in my hand. I'm reading through it so slowly. It's been days now, literally 3 days, and I've not even read through it completely yet. I'm a little more than halfway through it now. So I'm just going through. There's stuff that I've written in there that I forgot about. No joke. I'm serious. I'm glad I'm going back through it because I did a whole chapter on the Anabaptists and the Atonement, which was just published in the Criswell Journal. That
Yes.
chapter, and I talked about them using a term called divinization. There it is, right there. There you go. See right there. There it is.
On page 81.
Amen. Yeah. And people misunderstood it. The magisterial reformers misunderstood it, and they're, during the time of the Anabaptists, and people today still misunderstand it. It sounds almost like Mormonism to them, which it is not. It is simply a word that they coined to express the living out the life of Christ.
Well, I was looking at some of your conversations on Twitter, because obviously people are sending you a lot of stuff about this. They know that you're interested in it, and one thing that you said really got my attention. How you were, I think you said, we as Southern Baptists don't even realize how similar we are in belief and practice to those early Anabaptists.
Yeah, we are. That's my whole paper.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hermeneutically, homiletically, and ecclesiologically, they modeled what we have lived out. They were the model of, literally, it made an impression on the early English Baptists, which is what I'm arguing, which has made its way down to Southern Baptists and those of us that are conservative evangelical Baptists.
Do you think you were like, are you surprised by how close things are? Like, as you got in and studied it, did you find that it was even closer?
I am. I'm surprised at how close the Anabaptists and the magisterial reformers were, but they just simply, the magisterial reformers simply could not stand the Anabaptists. Listen, Zwingli was basically an Anabaptist with the exception of infant baptism. And he would not go with infant baptism because, now to quote Zwingli, he said, "I would rather have the military of the state behind me than in front of me facing me." So because and Luther was the same way. I honestly think that Luther and Zwingli, both in their heart, they wouldn't tell it, they wouldn't say it out loud, believed that the New Testament taught a believer's baptism, but they did not want to defy the state because they profited in a number of ways, not just financially, but also militarily from the state.
It's fascinating stuff, and you've talked before how the Anabaptists, how some of the information is tough to track down because of how quickly they were wiped out. But the interesting point on that is it was not persecution from like non-believers or pagans. It was persecution from other Christians.
Protestants and Catholics. The only thing Protestants and Catholics could agree on in the Reformation was kill the Anabaptists. And they couldn't even agree on how to do that because the Catholics would burn them and the Protestants would drown them or cut their heads off.
Well, they called it like the third baptism, right? When they would drown them.
Yeah, because they would.
Well, because all the Anabaptists, I mean, they'd grown up and been, everybody had been baptized as an infant, in that area in that time. Yeah. So then they have their second baptism, which
you see, the Anabaptists would say no, it was not. That's why they didn't like the term Anabaptist, which means rebaptizer, because they said if you were sprinkled as a child, that's not baptism. You call it what you want to. So we're not re-baptizing people. We're actually baptizing a believer for the first time.
It's I could tell you you're in the mode. I want to read this thing. Like I keep telling people, when it's finally done, we're going to publish it. We're going to get it leather bound. We're going to get it gilded edge pages, and we're passing it out, and everybody's going to have to read it here.
Gold leaf, you know.
Valleydale First
Leaf
Anabaptist Church.
edges, thick, rich Corinthian leather.
It has to be Corinthian. It has to be Corinthian leather for sure.
Corinthian leather.
Corinthian. Yeah.
Ricardo Montalban. You remember when he used to do that for Chrysler?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the rich Corinthian leather.
Well, I didn't know. My favorite Montalban story is how, because obviously he's Khan in Star Trek 2. That's like one of his most iconic roles.
Yeah.
And his chest is just like jacked in that movie. Well, it was fake. It was like a makeup piece. Yes. It's like a chest piece, and they made it up.
How sad.
I forget where I read that.
And so we're gonna do a shot where you don't have your shirt on. Okay, get makeup out here.
Oh my gosh, Corinthian leather. Well, it was a good day yesterday, Pastor, here at Valleydale Anabaptist Church. We missed you. We missed you. How was the live stream experience? Were you able to see everything
Really good.
okay?
Yeah, our guys are so good.
Well, praise the Lord for that. I always, every time you're watching, I always like, oh well, I hope we don't have any mistakes today, pastors.
The sound was great. The music was great. The camera work, and the neat thing about Valleydale is that so many of our people volunteer.
Yes,
and so much of that is just run by volunteers.
Well, yeah, I probably shouldn't even tell you this, but I think most people of the church know that we're kind of in between tech directors right now with Joseph Anderson. He's taken a secular job to prepare for the mission field, but so I think we were on the tech side. We were all volunteer yesterday. Brody had to go to Old Town, and they just did a great job. I was thrilled. I texted Brody. I just said, I'm just thrilled with how good the team is doing. So yeah, I think it's something to be proud of. Equipping the saints for the work of the ministry, Pastor.
Yeah, those guys do. And the great thing is, of course, a couple of my grandsons do it. They run the cameras. How many young men like that are being utilized and taught and trained, and the older guys take them and and they do a great job teaching them how to do it. I go by and poke fun at them and tell them not to go to sleep in the middle of the sermon while they're or I go by and I shake the chair that they're sitting in, just messing with them. But I'm so proud of our young people stepping forward, volunteering, and the older guys that take them and are willing to pour into them.
Well, it's a really unique environment when you go to serve there. I mean, I guess service in almost any area of the church, because we can have the very young serving with, people that are middle-aged and older. I talked to a very young man yesterday who's going to come and play trumpet for us.
Wow.
I just said, he's like, well, there's a couple things I don't know. It's like, listen, I'm not worried about you, because you're going to be sitting next to these guys who played for 40 years. And they're going to be able to tell you the tricks of the trade. So that'll be a new experience for them. I'm really excited. So shout out to Davis Jones. Yeah, I tell you, they're they really are good. Well, and of course we had Brother Dan here yesterday. Man, that guy, he is so good. He is such a hoot too. He threw you under the bus a couple times. He didn't mind to do that.
Hey, listen, that's par for the course. Dan is always throwing me under the bus.
I didn't realize how long you guys had known each other. It goes back a ways, huh?
Yeah, for years.
And he was also pastoring in Jacksonville. Did I hear him say that?
No, in Jackson, Tennessee.
Oh, Jackson, Tennessee.
Mississippi.
Okay, so I misheard that. That's my bad.
He was in Jackson, Mississippi. He pastored in Florida, but that was years and years, long before I knew him. And it was down around about halfway between Jacksonville and somewhere around Fort Lauderdale, that area.
Well, he definitely has a long career in ministry, experience. He shared a couple really helpful stories with us, and he was, I guess, just to continue to update people, he actually guest preached even when Dr. Kelly was here, which I didn't know that until yesterday.
Yeah.
He guest preached a couple times, and then when Dr. Kelly retired, he was the interim preacher here for a time before
almost 2 years.
It was, yeah, and those were some real.
I met him because the first meeting that I had with him, he came in saying, "Hey, do you guys know anybody that I can recommend to this church down Birmingham, Alabama called Valleydale?" I don't have any Valley. I've never heard. Where is that? Well, it's down here. So he kept talking about it, and I said, "I don't know, but I really don't know of anybody."
Little did you know, 5-6 years later,
he's talking about Valleydale. He loves Valleydale. He loves the people, and the people love him.
That was really evident yesterday, just a couple times when he talked about like the miracle of the Lord's favor now, which you and me have talked about that several times, but neither you nor I were here during probably the darkest days for this church. And we saw that we saw that video yesterday from Brother Jim Key, who was chair of the finance committee during some of the days when they thought they were going to have to close the doors.
Yeah, I heard Jim. I was listening to the testimony. It was excellent. Gave a lot of great history. I think it helped a lot of our people that are new and didn't realize Jim was here and was part of the group that voted to make the decision to move the church, buy the land, build the building, and then was here to refinance the thing. So it's all Jim Key's fault.
Yes, unquestionably.
He's responsible for it all.
So thank you, Brother Jim. If things go south, we're grateful.
Jim, we really appreciate it. No, he has been an enormous help. He took me out when I first came, and we sat down in Full Moon Barbecue, and he was explaining to me the two different loans. There are two loans that we have, right. One fixed, one that's sweet. And he was explaining, and he could explain it to me. And listen, if you can explain finances to me, you've done a good job.
Hallelujah.
So, but Jim Key has been tremendous help to this church for 20 years or more.
Yeah, very strong family. I played basketball with his son a couple times. Chan the man. They're really good family.
Good kids. And they walk up and they speak. And boy, when you get a young person that does that today, somebody's done a good job with them.
Amen.
So,
well, I said the same thing to Barry about your grandkids. They've done a really good job with them. I'm working on mine too with the handshake. We were doing some.
Just have to whoop them a lot.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Yeah, we've had some run-ins this week, but it's really okay. It's a joy. Well, what else should we say about what? Did you say something?
No, I was just laughing. Where did Dan stop yesterday? With what verse? Well, I know he went from 7 down through 15, was it?
Well, I don't think he quoted that far, but like the progression of his message kind of went that way. I only took notes through really like 11. That was where he talked about finish doing things well, because he said, you guys have done a great job so far, and now you got to finish strong as well.
Yeah.
So
he picked up on that theme of grace, which is the whole theme of these two chapters, really. Right. And I do remember him in verse 15 saying, he who gathered much did not have too much, and he who gathered little had no lack, was basically, looking at how it all evens out with God's people. Everybody can't do the same thing, but everybody can participate. Everybody can. And that's the big thing that we're wanting to see. There are a lot of folks in the church who've never really systematically given on a regular basis. And that's where I want, especially a lot of these young couples, for them to begin somewhere to learn that, you know what, we can trust God with the finances. We can trust God. We trust God with the greatest thing in our lives, which is our life, eternal, our spiritual lives. If he's going to save us, if he died for us, if he was resurrected for us, he's going to save us for eternity, then surely I can trust him with anything else I've got in my life. And that's what I'm wanting them to see. I'm wanting them to begin somewhere. It would just be so great. You know, you don't have to hit a dollar mark, but if you could hit a mark of participation by the overwhelming majority of people, you would begin to see people's lives grow spiritually.
Yeah, Dan said that really clearly. Yes, it is a spiritual discipline. Dan said that really clearly, talking about how the Lord is not after your money. He's after your heart. It's just that, as the word says, those things happen to be in the same place. Where your treasure is, your heart will be also. So yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think that would be a major victory if we see people in the church beginning like that systematic, strategic kind of giving. I mean, that's the biggest victory, right? I mean, like the Lord has already provided. You know, it's not about us filling the coffers. It is about us continuing and hopefully seeing the Lord disciple people in this spiritual discipline.
Yeah. I've often said, you know, I've often told the church, hey, you know, the good news is this: we have the money. We have the money. The bad news is it's still in your pocket.
Still in your pocket, right? It's just sitting right there. Yeah. I remember you said that. You said that even before they called you officially, and that was a knee slapper for me. It's true though, you know, and well, so maybe this would be a good time to talk, because I talked with a couple of people, and I found that people were a little bit unclear about like what's happening on November 7th, and so maybe we can talk through that a little bit with the commitment, but also there's a spot on the card.
Service.
Okay.
One service. Gonna just be a big celebration service.
Be fun.
The commitment card that's in two parts. They're going to bring the top part, which talks about their commitment to pray, their commitment to live out the values of Valleydale, our 5, you know, values. They're going to commit to give. Just that. What those things are there. You detach that. We're going to bring that down. Now, the part that lays out the financial aspect of this is what I give every year, number one. This is what I'm going to give in addition, you know, and then I'm going to multiply that by 2 because it's going to cover 2 years. And then I'm going to bring just a special first fruits offering that on that day, 7th, we're just bring a special offering above and beyond our tithe, beyond what we're going to pledge to give. Now, that part of the card, they keep. They don't turn that in. They stick that in their Bible so that it is a daily reminder for them to pray and for them to lay aside what they've pledged that they're going to do. But that stays between them and the Lord.
Right.
So, you know, like Deb and I are going to sit down at some point. We're going to talk. We're going to pray about it. We're going to list a figure. We're going to put a figure down. And then on the 7th, we're going to stick that in our Bible. We're going to drop the other part of the card into the offering plate, into the basket. And then I'm going to stick an additional gift.
Right.
And hopefully so that we can kick off giving toward this $1 million that I hope we can raise by January. And in doing that, we can pay completely off the fluctuating loan.
Now that's a big point.
If we pay that loan off in January, we don't have to raise the balloon payment that comes at the end of 2023 which is $485,000.
I think that that's something, without getting into all the loan theory that Jim Key knows better than both of us. I think that that $1 million piece is something that we're going to have to continue to talk about, because we're raising $1 million basically, so because it saves us almost $500,000. Isn't that
Yeah.
right?
Well, when you consider that you don't have to raise the $465,000 at the end, which is the balloon payment, and it will save you over the next 2 years $200,000 in interest.
That's huge.
You're over $500,000.
So it's the same principle as like they talk about with putting more money down on your mortgage, just so you don't have to pay as much in interest. Yeah,
that's right.
That's right. Huge, Pastor. I hope that I pray that that we're going to be able to. I feel confident that we're going to be able to do that. But I'm glad that you re-explained that, and don't be surprised you have to explain it again when you get back.
No, I will. I will. I know it's, see, the thing is, as staff, you and I, we sit in staff meetings, we talk about it, in staff meeting every week. We get it because we're constantly dealing with it. But people hear it one time and they think, well, what is that? I missed this. What is he saying with it? So I don't mind explaining it. If it helps the people understand it and gets them on board and say, hey, let's do that. We're saving the church money. And see that $200,000 that we're going to save, what are we going to do with that? Well, I've already shared. I want to give that to Nathan in North London to start the down payment on the new church facility in that Muslim neighborhood.
Huge. Yeah, people are.
What a blessing! Why not save $200,000 and sow that right back into missions? Put it into a brand new church plant.
That is a really, really exciting thought. Well, and Dan did a great job talking about that. He went back and just said, like, this is what we're raising towards. Gave some really beautiful stories of young people giving and the ways that the Lord multiplied that. I guess my last note on Dan was that he said that he's going to treat his sermon clock in a similar way to how you treat the sermon clock.
I've heard that.
And
like, again, throwing me under the bus.
I know. Well, in the second service, I got him back for you because I said it's clear that Dan does not treat the clock like Pastor does. Dan clearly cares far less, because he went he went over. I think he went over by like 22 minutes or something like that.
Oh golly, he's a great guy.
Oh, he is. He is. Well, he even said at one point, I was just like, Dan, he was on fire at one point. He's like, I know I'm going over. I don't care. You can't say anything to me because I'm in a wheelchair. And he was like, I was like, Dan, chill out, man.
Yeah.
He was like, I have no shame.
What a testimony he's got,
Incredible. Yeah.
Man, don't tell me that, you're tired or you don't have the ability or whatever. There's a guy in a wheelchair, completely paralyzed from the neck down. And man, he's working and doing ministry every day.
Yes.
He has got an unbelievable schedule. And the guy does not sleep that well at night. His poor wife has to get up and turn him every hour and a half, every 2 hours.
Wow.
Just what they go through to take care of him health-wise. You would think that's a full time, but then on top of that, he works unbelievably.
It's an inspiration, brother. That's what I was praying through with my family.
It's a testimony.
Yeah, I prayed through that with my family last night, just saying, Lord, no matter, I kept thinking of that line in Be Thou My Vision, whatever might befall me, Lord, still keep yourself right in front of me. I think that Dan is really living that out and continues to be.
For everybody out there, if you've not seen, it's on our YouTube channel now.
Yeah,
it's already just to watch this guy and to listen to him. What an incredible testimony.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. It's great. Yeah, his other messages are probably on there as well. He's probably spoken about once a year since I've been here. He's been around. Well, where are we going from here, Pastor? I know that Dr. Chesney's in the pulpit this week, and I guess
he picks up verse 16 of chapter 8. And I'm not sure how far he goes. And then I'll be back and I'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
And then on the 31st, I'm going to do something a little special, a little different. I'm thinking right now.
So you've picked your costume then for the 31st?
Yeah, I'm going to come out with my horns on.
So what are you doing on the 31st? I scheduled Mighty Fortress Is Our God. Well, I definitely want to sing that day. I feel like that's appropriate. But
that's it.
So are you going to talk about Luther that day, or are you going to keep it a surprise?
Probably so. Probably so.
Cool. I'm excited then. And we need to pray for you because it's Thursday that you're doing your
I fly out Wednesday morning because Thursday at 9 o'clock in the morning, I go in. I will be there before these professors.
Wowzers.
And it'll be do or die. If I don't pass my defense, I am not coming back home. Y'all won't see me again.
All right. Should we get to work planning your funeral? Because you said Debbie's going to kill you if you don't pass.
Oh, that's why I'm not coming home. I'm afraid I'll walk in the door and she's got a shotgun. So I'll just disappear.
Okay.
Also, you know what? Do y'all remember Mac Brunson? Y'all remember? He's been gone for so many years now.
Well, and then you're going to show up in the pulpit somewhere in California. New church planted by Dak Lundgren. Interesting. In the vein of the Anabaptist. I can see the Babylon Bee now.
Yeah. Dirk Phillips. Dirk Phillips was a brilliant Anabaptist, very learned scholar. There were not many that, had real good education. Hubmaier was their only theologian.
Yes. Balthazar Hubmaier
was a real Greek scholar. Conrad Grebel started under Zwingli and was encouraged by Zwingli and went on and finished and got a degree, studied Greek. But they blew on past Zwingli, Felix Mons, Conrad Grebel, George Blue. They baptized George Blue Rock on January the 21st, 1521, I think. 1521.
This is good practice for your defense. Maybe I feel like I wish I had like a hat or a gown or something to put on and just be like, yes, Pat, so-called Pastor Mac.
But was dead. They had killed Grebel. They burned him.
Oh, they burned Grebel. It wasn't the drowning?
No, they drowned his wife and burned him.
Ugh, man, it sounds like something out of Braveheart or something. Sheesh,
it's really bad. Yeah.
Maybe you and me should watch Braveheart when you get back.
These were Christians.
Golly, when nothing's changed, it's amazing. Josh and I, Pastor Josh and I,
just spice each other up on Twitter.
That's exactly right. We were having a conversation about how the meanest people on Facebook seems to be people that are so-called Christians. It's very sad.
I'm telling you.
So anyway, for anybody that is frustrated about any of what we just talked about, remember the email address is jmcgookin@valleydale.org.
That's right.
So just send that to him. And just know that he loves.
Oh golly.
All right, Pastor, this has been fun. I'm sorry you're not in the office, but I guess, we know you got to do what you got to do.
I'm headed back to sit down and start studying. See ya.
See you, brother.